And good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the spring edition of Talking with Forest Park. I'm Jason Grzgorek, your host, and very fortunate to have with me here at the round table discussing all things popping up spring. City Manager Ray Hodges, of course.
Jason, thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you were able to join us because, as always, bringing wonderful guests to the table. Wright is joining us once again. Wright Gwynn from Forest Park Environmental.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I always enjoy coming here.
I know you like coming in, and we love talking about the great things that are going on. Ray, you have always brought Wright in with some new and innovative things that are going on in the city, and this is no different for.
Right, certainly no different, but we have typically brought Wright in for maybe half the program to announce a program or to point out some special activity we're doing. But right now, there's so much going on in the environmental related area that we wanted to commit our full time to communicate that with the general public. Wright's been doing a great job in many, many programs. We really are doing much more than what we'll have time to talk about today. But the programs that we're going to talk about today, they're exciting. Some are cost saving. They're certainly all related to the benefit and betterment of Forest Park. So we're glad to have Wright on to talk about this today.
Well, thank you very much. 30 minutes puts a lot of pressure on me. I'm used to 15, but 30 minutes is, I don't know.
But see, it gets you going, and then you get everything out.
We will try.
Here's the key thing. I think we got far more programs going on than we'll even be able to cover. So once we get started, you'll see there's some very exciting programs.
I know there are two that we're definitely going to hit home about, and then we're going to cover a couple that are just coming up that are our typical house cleaning ones, no pun intended there, but just to get through the rest of the spring into summer,
right,
which will get us going.
Right.
But the first one let's definitely talk about is the eco-tier. Going back to that, we had just mentioned it the last time we were on, and some changes that were going on.
Right.
You are bringing some cost-saving initiatives this way.
Yes, we are. Now, for those people who aren't familiar with it, Forest Park contracted for their solid waste services in 2008, and basically we just had one level of service, and it was full service. And it was a cost saver. Before the contract went into effect, people were paying about $18.81 a month. When we went into contract, we were able to get it down to $17, which was we were very pleased with that. We also reduced the trash containers. They were like $3.50 a month for rental. We got that down to $1. So that was a cost savings. And large items, before the contract, it was like $10 a large item. We included that in the contract, so that was free. So that was we were really happy. But as the contract progressed, it was a 5-year contract, we realized that not everybody needed the full service. So we started thinking about what could we do for those people who generate less solid waste, actively recycle, so therefore didn't need the limited service, the two big trash cans of waste that was allowed in the full service program.
Well, before we get into what is the smaller service, for those who are unfamiliar with the full service, what was the full service, so that if you were to compare before we get in?
Full service, $17 a month.
Yes.
You got the big trash can, the 96-gallon trash can for $1 a month. You could put out large items, no extra cost. And that was basically full. And you could put out up to 6 32-gallon containers worth of trash a week. That was the maximum you could put out.
And those if you're putting that much trash
that's
out,
a lot
that's
of trash.
A lot of trash.
It would take me all summer
to
build that up. So that equals 2 big Rumpke trash cans a week.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a lot. And we realized that's not necessary for a lot of people. So we introduced the eco-tier in 2011. And basically the eco-tier, at that time, we said for $14 instead of $17, we'd put it down to $14. Okay. We'd provide them with a trash can at no cost, so that saved $1 there. But it was a smaller trash can. It was a 35 or 65-gallon container because they're generating less. They don't need the big one. And they could put out 1 large item a week at no extra cost. And that would be available to those people for $14 a month. Okay, so that was like 2011, the middle of the first contract. At the beginning of the second contract in 2013, we saw that the bids came in at a better than expected rate, so we were able to reduce the $14 rate for EcoTier down to $13. We were going, yep, that's good. And we were also, what was good, able to maintain the $17 rate for full service. That's like, we already did 5 years of no increases for full service. Now we're going to try to do another 5 years for no increase, for $17 for full service, which is really quite extraordinary.
It is.
But then, as this contract has been going on, we noticed that the contract's working so well that we can provide a little bit more help for those people who aren't generating as much trash and garbage and recycling a lot. They don't need as much service. We can go from 13 now down to 12. And that will start July 1 of this summer.
Now, of course, that's a cost savings to everyone for a service that is just, if you're listening to this now, you're hearing what a wonderful way to repurpose your house, get everything out. Definitely.
It's what we would like to do is recognize those people who are doing a great job in recycling.
Fair.
Because we can give them a big container for recycling, and there's so much stuff now that you can recycle that you can divert all that stuff into the recycling container, and there's no limit for that.
And which is, as you're saying, you're correct, because the newer systems are now allowing for all of it to go in one bin as opposed to glass here.
Right. You don't
your
need
ones and twos, everything. You don't have to worry about it
You don't have to worry. Just throw it in that green or red container, recycling container, and you're done. Just roll it out with your trash, empties, and you can do as much as you want with that. And then for the smaller trash can, you won't have as much, so you don't need such a big can.
And at what sizes are you offering the recycling? We'll go back to the EcoTier,
Okay.
but for the recyclings, as we're talking about it right now, what sizes are you offering still?
There are 3 sizes. Before the contract, we only had one, and that was the little red bin. That's 18 gallons in size. It's not very big.
That doesn't help a lot of people.
Especially with the amount of the different types of materials now that you can recycle.
Sure.
So we were able to put in the contract at no cost 2 dark green totes. They're called totes with wheels and a lid. Now remember that it's 18 gallons for the little red bin.
Right.
Then we have one 35-gallon tote with wheels and a lid, and a 65-gallon tote with wheels and a lid. And the 35-gallon was a hit. I mean, people found, because it's right in the middle, it's bigger than the red little bin, but it's not as big as the 65. It's perfect. They can roll it in, roll it out, very easy. People love that. But we have others with bigger families or really, really recyclers that do the 65. And then if we have people call up and says, I need another recycling bin. We've got the biggest one. I say, look, Rumpke's been very nice. They said, if you have these people, we'll exchange it and give them a 96-gallon recycling tote if you feel like they need it. And we've got a couple families, a couple households that have those out there too.
Are you finding people are utilizing the recycling far more? And what are your expectations with the EcoTier then?
Well, to answer your first question, recycling has really done well. We did a survey last summer, and I'm going to do another one this summer, to see how many households are recycling in Forest Park. When we started this survey, which was about 10, 12 years ago, we were at like 51% of the households recycling. Last year, when we completed the survey, we were up to 71%.
Wow.
I'm really impressed with that. People are doing really well.
Where does that put us in the city of Cincinnati in comparison?
I'm not sure, because I know the city of Cincinnati is well known for their recycling efforts and all their environmental projects that they have going on there. So I'm not really sure. And right now they're undergoing another change in their solid waste collection program, so I'm not really sure where they are on that. But I think we fare very well when you compare it with the other 48 communities in Hamilton County. I'm really pleased with it. And I'm really curious to see how well, if we've improved over the last year from the 71%.
I can only imagine with the numbers that you're relaying back, it sounds as if Forest Park is definitely keeping things green.
Well, we're on the right track, but it's not us. It's not the city that's doing it. It's the residents that are doing it. They don't have to do it. All this is voluntary. And so you got to give kudos. And that's why EcoTier is so important. We want to recognize these people. And
again, be able to offer something so low cost in order to do the efforts in which they are already doing.
Right. And if you think back right before the contract, they were paying $18.81 plus the rental fees and the large item fees and everything. Now these people, if they really recycle hard, can get the same service basically for $12 a month.
And this is starting again, as you said before I cut you out, July 31st, correct?
Right.
And at that point, how long will this rate stay because of the contract?
We hope the contract will end in October 2018. So we hope at least until the 2018, and then we'll see what the bids do in 2018.
You looking to reduce any further? I mean,
I'm happy where we are now. I don't want to forecast anything because it might jinx it. I think right now the solid waste fund is a very healthy position. It's allowing us to do some things to help the residents. And so right now things are working, I would say, better than we had really dreamed about.
Right. We hadn't planned for it to work so well. We did plan for its success.
Sure.
But it is performing even better than what we would have anticipated. And especially with the fact that we went through a period of time, as you'll recall, when gas prices were going sky high and it looked like there was no end to it.
Right.
We became a lot more concerned, but that stabilized itself. And so the good thing is we have a multi-year contract. So it doesn't end this year or next year, but it goes on to the length of that contract. And we'll just have to see what the market brings with the next contract renewal.
Well, as we were talking, with the reduction, and you're saying it's being able to offer other services, it kind of goes into our next discussion point, which is the whole house improvement program, which is similar to what you've done in the past, am I not correct, with some of the home health issues that we've done. We've looked over the roofs, we've looked over the windows, we've looked over some great things, but you're offering a new incentive program as well.
Right. This is an offshoot of a program we had about started 2.5 years ago. We partnered with the Greater Cincinnati Energy Alliance. Mm-hmm. They were a great organization coming out of Cincinnati, and they helped us improve energy efficiencies in individuals' homes. And that included insulation, air sealing, furnaces, air conditioning, more efficient appliances, more efficient doors and windows, things of that nature. And it worked great.
It was a good program for the number of years that we've done it.
For 2.5 years, it worked great. We did 159 homes. We were able to subsidize the cost, so it wasn't as expensive as it could have been. And I think those people who had those improvements are very happy. But times change, missions kind of change, directions change, and so in 2014 we only had like 3 houses participate, and that kind of shot up red flags saying we need to re-examine this program. And the re-examination brought about a new partner, a new emphasis on home improvement, and so our new partner will be People Working Cooperatively. It's a nonprofit organization that started in 1975, I believe. They have about 130 certified home builders and about 7,000 volunteers. And what we have arranged is that we're going to put in $40,000 from our fund to get them here and concentrate on Forest Park. And that $40,000 will help renovate 40 homes a year, and we hope to do it over a series of years.
Okay.
And we're going to try to target those households that are in the average 80% of the median income. So there is an income qualification.
We'll probably go into what are the qualifications and how someone can get involved here.
Right. But so there is a level of income that we're looking at. Because the previous program was open to everyone. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to focus to those people who might need it a little bit more, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. And not only are we going to concentrate on energy efficiency improvements, but we're also on standard of living issues, such as railings, if people needed railings to help move around the house, fans, just to circulate air. We're going to do minor electrical and plumbing issues, things of that nature.
Are you looking interior, exterior?
Interior.
Both?
All this
all
is
interior.
all interior.
Okay.
The city has an exterior grant program that if the People Working Cooperatively sees that maybe they could take advantage of it, they will give them information saying you might want to contact the Community Development Department because they have a grant that you might want to take advantage of to improve the exterior of your home as well.
So if I were a citizen of the area and I want to get involved, how can I get involved, and what are the specifications that would lead me to bringing someone into my home from PWC?
Okay. PwC has established a direct line to their organization. They can contact me for information about the program, but I can't start the registration
start the process.
Right. They have to either email or call PwC. Like I said, they established a direct line just for Forest Park residents.
Okay.
And they will be asked for some information, income level, what they think they need, things of that nature. They will be filling out the application as they're doing it over the phone. Once they're complete, the PwC will mail that application to the homeowner saying, is this right? We need verification, and they will sign it. And also when they return it, we'll return it with 2 years of tax information to make sure that they are within the income level.
Okay.
And then once that happens, then that's when they start scheduling when is it convenient for them to come in. The neat thing about this is that most of these improvements take about 1 day. They'll just send in a flood of volunteers, and they will make the improvements in 1, maybe 2 days at the most, and then they're done.
That seems rather quick in comparison to what may need to go through the house. Again, you're looking at electrical, plumbing, but you've got how many volunteers did you say?
They not us.
Not them. You.
PwC has a wealth. They said in their literature, they say 7,000. That's a small city.
It really is.
As far as I'm concerned. But they have quite a collection of talent as far as volunteers go. And they know, when they go in, they know what they're going to be doing and to what extent they're going to do it. So that's why they can do it. Now, if it's more complicated like a furnace or something like that, then yes, it might take longer. But replacing an appliance, doing minor plumbing, electrical work, installing railings, maybe a fan. I even did a fan once. It took me 2 weeks, but I am not certified.
You have the
but
green.
It hasn't burned down the house yet.
You have a green thumb. You might not.
Mechanical is not my. Yeah,
that is
straight.
okay. When will this all take into place? I know this was discussed at council not too long ago, but when can someone who's watching the program now get involved, start phoning you to get on the list, to get things going, so that they can have...
Well, Ray could probably talk more about the resolution and being it passed and stuff like that.
Right. Well, basically, I think anyone that's interested in the program should go ahead and make the contact now. I don't think they even need to worry about the timing on their part of it, because by the time we get things rolling, it'll fit right in place with whatever they want to do. So that's the encouragement we're giving to residents. You hear about the program, you think you might qualify, go ahead and contact us now. The program is going to happen.
Sure.
So and regardless of anything else, you have to be scheduled to get the work done anyway.
And we're looking at a target date of June?
June 1, I've got another meeting. The final meeting with PwC is on the 27th. That's
Okay.
when we go over all the last minute details. And then, yes, I agree with Ray. You just go to my website. I'll have, hopefully, I've developed a web page with all the information. I'm getting it reviewed by PwC to make sure the information is correct. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, I'll have it up by the 27th, 28th. They can go to that page, go to my home site, click on the whole house improvement project, goes to the page with all the information and a link and phone number that they might want to use to contact them directly to get going.
What is your projection on this type of project? Are you thinking there's going to be a lot of eager individuals out there, or do you feel a little hesitation? How do you feel about the city embracing
I'm
this?
excited. Now, we both, PwC and I, both agree this is a pilot program, so we're
Okay.
going to learn a lot in this. And so we're doing 40 homes. We both agree that the $40,000 for 40 homes is a good target. Mm-hmm. They already told me they had 78 names before this even started.
Okay.
That in their data banks that they could contact to see if they're interested.
Okay.
So I think 40 is a very doable number. And after the work, I will be getting information from PwC as the work progresses and stuff. I will send out an evaluation form to those people saying how was the service, what was done, was it done in a timely, professional way, are you pleased, any recommendations, things of that nature. So we'll be getting information from the households, from the PwC, from us, and we'll put it all together. And I think it's going to be a good program for years to come. This is not 1 year. We're hoping this will be.
Well, I was just going to ask, you're saying that this is a pilot program. I know how you think. You do think out, a number of years. How far out are you looking personally, or is the city looking?
Well, I'm looking as long as our funding will absorb it. If it's successful and people are really benefiting from it, there's all the surveys say that if you can keep people in their homes and create a quality living environment, that it will not only help those people living in the house, but also the neighbors and the neighborhood and the community as a whole. So this is like I like to say, a win-win-win. It's win for the households, for the individual, for the community, for the neighborhood. Those kind of things you want to keep going as long as you can.
Sure. And you're looking at the betterment of the neighborhoods as well. I think that's why something like this coming from Wright, going to the citizens, is something that you and council are looking at as well.
Definitely, and as Wright said, it's to highlight the fact that everybody wins in the situation. If residents can keep up their home, if they can stay in their home, it makes for a better neighborhood, and a better neighborhood makes for a better community. So any assistance that we can provide, we want to try to provide it. This happens to be one opportunity, one avenue that we can help residents not only stay in their home, but to make sure it's a good, safe home that they can help the city in maintaining a neighborhood of quality homes.
And then what's the nice thing is that next year when we come back and sit at the springtime as we're reevaluating what's going on, we'll be able to talk about this and say, okay, how did this pilot program go, and where do you see the 2016 season going
Right,
for
how are we tweaking it to make it better?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the exciting, not only putting it together, but seeing how it's working, and then the next year saying, okay, we're going to do this and this and this, and it's like tuning up your car. Your car will run and it will do okay, but if you do a little this and a little bit, then all of a sudden you really want to get going and you want to be in the car, and that's where we want to get with this program. We want it to work so everybody's working efficiently, we're not wasting any time, the money is well spent, and the people are satisfied. I think that would be a good.
And to keep with that analogy, it also keeps people going in that car, going forward. That doesn't. You're not leaving the city. You're keeping that home that you love in a nicer shape than what you might have not been able to, thanks to your assistance.
Right, and I think it adds to the fact that we have property maintenance standards, and we hold residents to those standards. If you're in violation, you'd be subject to a violation notice and possibly a fine. But it also provides an opportunity for people that may be less able to afford some of those improvements and some of those maintenance requirements to do it.
Yeah.
It is to say, if you have a property in Forest Park, you have to maintain it. And if you don't have the resources to do it, we'll at least try to assist you or point you in the right direction. But the bottom line is you have to maintain your property.
And that's what we have said all along in many discussions, depending upon who's at the other side of the table here, is that it's always your responsibility to take care of the area in which you live. And
right. And even before this program started, I, interestingly enough, got one notice, and I think I'll get some more related to it. But there's a property that is not being well maintained. And we're going to make that our priority for the day. We're going to go out there, we're going to inspect that property, we're going to address it. And that's just one issue that they have. But as I say, I'm sure they'll give me the rest of the issues. And we're going to follow up on each and every one of them. But this is an example where there's no excuse for people not to be able to maintain their property. If they don't have the resources to do it, there are resources available that they can avail themselves to.
Sure. Well, we are going down to the bottom of our time here, so I do want to. I know, right? Shock and amazing here. But let's touch on a few of the things that we need to, as pretty much house cleaning items that are coming up. I do want to talk a little bit about the reforesting Forest Park issue. We're in our second year of this. How are we doing?
We're doing great. We've got 20 trees have already been reserved. We are going to 100 again this year, like we did last year. I've gotten some really neat emails and comments from people who participated last year. They're saying, "Oh, my tree looks great. You know, it's blooming." There was one person who emailed me last year. Says, "Right, this tree is dead. Why didn't you give me a dead tree?" And I said, "Look, just plant it, and let's see what happens. And contact me in the spring if we have any problems." I kind of kept in the back of my mind thinking, okay, I should contact them. I know who they are. And before I could contact them, they emailed me back and says, "Oh, my tree is doing great. Thank you very much." And I wrote back and said, "Yeah, it's amazing. If you just let nature take its course, it'll work." She says, "Thank you very much. I'm very happy with my 2 trees now." So, you know, you might get them in the dormant stage where they don't look good.
Sure.
But you plant them, give them a TLC in the fall, let them kind of settle in the winter. And the spring, you'll be surprised. So the program's going well. We do have a new tree. We substituted one out.
I was going to say, you said that was something you were going to try to do every year. So we have replaced
the bur oak.
Okay.
And substituted it with a seedless sweet gum, which seems to be a hot ticket so far.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's got a beautiful fall foliage colors.
It does. I have one in my front yard personally, and I will say that the important thing on it, make sure that it does not get root bound, because the more that the roots can go out, the more beautiful that tree can be.
I will pass
Make sure you know that.
pass that on to people. But we still have the tulip tree, the serviceberry, Allegheny serviceberry, and the eastern redbud. So those are it. But the sweet gum seems to be.
And you said you're at 40 already?
20.
20.
20. And we just sent out the first notice.
Okay.
About 2 weeks ago.
I was just going to ask, in comparison from last year to this
you're
year,
right on target. Right on target.
You think you'll hit your 100?
I think we'll hit it by the end of July.
That is great.
And we'll deliver them in October, the first week in October, because we don't want to plant them in the hot part of the season.
No.
So yeah, we're real excited about that.
And of course, some last-minute issues before we have to close our doors today. We do have a paper shredding event coming up.
Yes, we do.
Which is very important. Where it's going to be at Winton Woods High School.
Saturday, May the 23rd. So if you watch this after the 23rd, don't come on that on the next Saturday. You'll be disappointed. But yes, we're working with Kappa. The Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, they're the ones who wanted to do it.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let's do it. And they contacted a shredder, and so it's going to be there from 10 to 1 in the high school parking lot on Saturday, May the 23rd. Bring your paper. If you got a lot of paper, we might pull you out of the line and sit you into a loading zone, because we want to keep the flow going. So if you have a lot, we're going to pull you out so you don't slow up the lines. But we'll get it shredded. Just give us a little bit of time.
And these are using you can bring your sensitive issues, bank stubs, things like that, without any fear of anything. Because I know a lot of people are concerned that when you're bringing sensitive material to an open public venue, that
they can watch. If they want to watch paper being shredded, there will be a monitor. Now, whether it's your paper being shredded, you don't know. Paper looks like paper. But just make sure that you don't have any metal or anything, just paper. You can keep the staples, you can keep the paper clips, but no metal binders, no hard drives, no floppy disks, nothing that might contain information. Just paper, because we don't want to do damage to the machinery.
We've done something like this before, but not to this large scale, have we?
I haven't. This is my first. And so we're going to learn, and apparently we're getting calls from all over the county. Cintas used to do it on a regular basis, and they haven't. They were merged into another company, and so there are not that many around anymore. So we're getting a lot of calls. If it's very successful, then we might have it either every year or every other year or something like that. So it should be interesting to see how it turns out.
Keep those numbers again. That's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on May 23rd, Saturday, and that's going to be at the parking lot of Wynwood High School. So make sure you're
Exactly.
upfront about that.
Exactly.
And then finally and foremost, the large appliance curbside not recycling, but collection. Which is
Collection.
always important. That is continuing as well.
Right. Now, we've primarily focused on those items, appliances with Freon, because we don't want the Freon to be let loose into the atmosphere. That's bad news.
Yes.
So we do refrigerator, freezers, air conditioners, dehumidifiers, but we also expanded it to include stoves, water heaters, dishwashers, clothes washers, things like that. All they have to do is call me,
Okay.
and we will schedule when they can put it out. We'll ask them to put it out one evening, and then we'll schedule Public Works to come by and pick it up the next morning early. We try to get it before the scavengers, find them. But that'll run through like the end of August.
Okay, and so we're starting now until then.
Right.
It's a great time. We're discussing spring here, spring cleanup, clean out,
Right.
get things going,
Right.
bring out the old, possibly bring in something new.
Always.
But and you're saying end of summer, basically?
Yeah,
kinda
end of
wanna-
August for that program.
And
Yeah.
again, if anybody needs to get in contact with Wright, that's 595 Land. You can get a hold of Wright down at the office and get some information. Believe it or not, we've made it to that point, but you've got one more point. I knew what a half hour was going to be.
It's never. Well, I want 60 minutes. I want 60 minutes, right?
No,
I want to thank the City Council
Absolutely.
and Ray for giving me the freedom to do this. A lot of communities might not trust or let somebody finagle around and build partnerships and stuff, but they've given me a lot of freedom. And I definitely appreciate that, because that just feeds on more thought and more innovation and more partnership. So thank you very much for letting me do that. And I want to thank Waycross Community Media, because y'all are just a gem to work with and getting information out. And I'm sorry that every community didn't have a program like yours.
I wish we could do, but the same goes for you. We are thankful that, and I'm sure Ray could echo the sentiments, to have something like this in our city, to be able to have a watchdog, to be able to say, these are programs that can make your city better. And I can't say enough, and I'm sure Ray,
Well,
you
I
echo
would
the
say the key thing is this is all results-based.
yes.
We wouldn't put the trust and confidence in Wright and the programs he's bringing forth without seeing the kind of results that we're getting. I think what we're doing is setting a model of what a community can do when they're fully committed. And in order to be fully committed, you have to have somebody in charge that is fully committed. Thankfully, Wright is the person. It's upon words, but Wright is the right person.
Right, and I've heard that one before, but you know what?
We could have ended before that.
No, it is true. It never does get old. But you know what? We are very thankful to have a program like that. And again, with the leadership that we have, it is important to get that going. So
It takes a team.
it does. And with the way the council, Ray, and you all work together, it keeps our city green. And that's the important part. So I want to thank Ray. I want to thank Wright for joining us tonight.
Enjoyed it.
And again, we'll be back. There's always plenty of time.
I look forward to it.
I look forward to the email saying, well, Wright is coming on tonight. I'm like, all right, we know what we're talking about. So we look forward to hearing from you. Again, Ray, thanks for joining us, bringing
Thank
in
you.
wonderful people
Thank you.
here to talk about the things that the city needs to know. I want to thank you for joining us as well. This has been your opportunity to talk with those in the know here on Talking with Forest Park. I'm Jason Gork, Waycross Community Media's Government Access Coordinator. Again, giving you the opportunity to talk with Forest Park. Have a great evening, enjoy your spring, and we'll see you soon.